touch away. Monday to Friday at 12:30 p.m. only on Bloomberg Quint.
Thanks for joining us on Parlance. This is Bloomberg Quint. I'm Harsha Subramaniam.
Good afternoon. I'm Ira Dugal. Let's get you the headlines. Indian markets extend their lead, driven by earnings optimism.
ACC gains the most in 9 years after the cement maker springs a surprise on realization in the June quarter.
Asian Paints will be reporting its first quarter results post-market hours today. Focus will be on the impact of rising input costs.
ICICI Bank seeks to intervene in the Daiichi Ranbaxy case, claims 250 crore from the Singh brothers.
All right, all that coming up on the show, but let's first dip into the markets. Devina is here with the market check. Afternoon, Devina.
Afternoon, Ira. And today's markets again are fairly lackluster in terms of the move on the indices, with the Nifty and the Sensex obviously flattish in trade right now. But do remember the Sensex did make a record high in the morning, could not sustain it. The Nifty is a few points away from making its high as well. So you're going to watch out for a level of closer to 11,171. If it takes that down, then the upside could go up to 11,200 odd levels. You're going to be watching out closely for what's been happening in the mid-cap space. That's doing actually well compared to the indices right now, the main indices. So about closer to 0.7%. They've also petered off from the highs of the day for the mid caps and the small caps. You've got the Nifty rollovers that you need to watch out for going into expiry. 24% is what we have. That's on the higher side. Open interest action still persistent at 11,200 calls with the maximum amount of build up there, 3.81 lakh shares. 11,100 puts are active in trade today. In terms of individual stocks that you'll be going to watch out for, the cement space, that's the active buzzer in today's trade. ACC, for that matter, that stock's doing really well, about 11% on the back of better realizations, 4% increase quarter on quarter, volumes near peak. Ultratech Cement, Ambuja Cement, and in fact, the entire cement pack itself is about a buzz with a lot of activity and on good volumes to top it off. Results reactions seen in some stocks which have taken them up further. You've got stocks like L&T Tech Services, L&T Finance Holding. These are the stocks that are doing well. Delta Corp net profit was up about 86%. The stocks up about 4% in trade today. Taking a quick look at the mid-cap gainers and small-cap gainers, Whirlpool, Ramco Cement from the cement space is up. L&T Finance Holding, we just discussed that. And small-cap space, the railway stocks seem to be doing well today. Titagarh and Texmaco up in double digits. Sri Renuka is the other one that adds on in today's session.
Navina, thank you for that. That's the broader markets for you. Broader markets have significantly underperformed Nifty and the Sensex over the past couple of months, but has it finally found some footing? Jayesh has put together some charts to give us a sense of what's going on in the broader market. Jayesh.
So Harshad tried to do a bit of a combination of fundamental and technical analysis to check how the mid-cap space actually pans out. And over the past few months, we have had plenty of guests who speak about mean reversion. So let's have a look at whether it has in fact actually happened or not. What you see on the chart is the white line, that is the ratio between the mid-cap index and the Nifty index. And this is a 5-year time duration that we have taken. You can see that the ratio in 2013 from 1.2 has moved to in excess of 2 levels in 2018, and the red line is the 5-year average line now, and where the ratio currently is very close to that mean level, and hence the reason we are saying that the mean reversion for the mid cap index has in fact happened. But what lies going ahead, that is the key, and for that we have the fundamental chart, which is the forward price to earnings chart. So what you have once again on the chart over here is that the white line is the 1-year forward P for the Nifty mid cap index. The red line is the 5-year average P for itself, and the white dotted line is the 1 standard deviation above the mean. And you can see that post 2017 this ratio has in fact hovered around the dotted white line, which is just above the 1 standard deviation line, and currently we are very close to it. But before that, if you have a look before 2017, since 2014 it was hovering very close to the average line. But if you're a believer that the new normal is the one standard deviation which is close to 20 times forward earnings, then this is where mean reversion can actually happen and we can see a bounce back in the Nifty mid-cap index. Lastly, we have some technical analysis to show that there is important support level for the Nifty mid-cap index. What you have on the screen is a 5-year weekly chart for the Nifty mid-cap index, and the green line is the 100-week simple moving average. And you can see that since 2014 it has never been decisively broken, except for Feb or March 2016, where just for brief couple of weeks it traded below, but nothing major as such. And you can see that currently it is very close to that particular line. In fact, before 2013 is where we had decisively where the 100-week moving average was in fact breached, and once it has been taken out, we have never seen that level come back again. So once again, some support for the Nifty mid-cap index as well.
Yes, thank you for that. That's interesting technical analysis of how the mid-cap and the small-cap space have performed. Thank you indeed. But how has it affected your portfolios? The rich and famous particularly saw their investments in the first quarter of fiscal 19 fall. 7 out of 10 portfolio managers in the country gave negative returns in the last 3 months, ended June. That's according to data released by SEBI. Sajid is here to put those numbers into perspective and to give us a sense of who's done well and who's done worse. Sajid.
What Jayesh was mentioning is the root cause of the underperformance of the fund managers as well. If you look at in the first quarter, you have Nifty which went up by 5%. You have the mid cap which fell by 13% and small cap which fell by 22%. And a lot of fund managers had huge exposure to the mid cap and the small cap, and they saw huge. They saw the portfolios literally getting hit majorly in the last 2 months, especially May and June, where the carnage has been there in the mid cap and small cap space. Of the 10 portfolio managers, only 3 made three made positive returns, which is Motilal, Alchemy, and ASK Investment. One thing is very clear in the Alchemy part of it, their turnover portfolio turnover ratio was 2.2 times, which means that they had a total churn of 2.2 times the total AUM, which so they had a portfolio of 4,000, they did a churn of 10,000 crores in a month, and that is what very surprising, because for all other portfolio managers it's marginal decimal points of portfolio churn which is there. So the return is coming on the basis of the high trading frequency which Alchemy would have done in these 3 months to ensure that there is a return which is coming in there. Others which did very badly, Kotak AMC 9.5% negative return. You have Equity Intelligence, which is Porinju's fund, 18% down in the first quarter. Birla Sun Life, Unify Capital, this is also Chennai based portfolio manager, Unify Capital, which is down 3.6%, and these are some of the big ones which is there. So in total the top 10 which we picked up have nearly $6.8 billion of assets. 91% is invested in equities. So nearly 5.5% of that is been parked in cash in terms of liquidity, in terms of mutual funds, which is liquid funds which they may have parked in. But the equity performance has been hit majorly by the small cap and the mid cap.
That's a story of what's happened to your portfolio in the last 3 months. Sajid, thank you for putting that in perspective. Most of them, as he mentioned, only 3 of them actually delivering positive returns. Talk about numbers now. ACC's shares jumped 12% in trade today after the cement maker beat all expectations on earnings. The strong quarter was backed by robust volume growth and realizations. Nikki is standing by with the key highlights of the quarter gone by for ACC.
Indeed, Harsha, the stock is not trading away from the day's high level, around that May 2018 level that the stock is currently trading at. Good set of numbers, as you mentioned. Revenue up by 11%. Net profit is higher than estimated. EBITDA too has come in higher than the estimate, but then the beat is coming in from the volume front, which is up by as much as 7% at a number of around 7.24 MT as compared to 6.74 MT that we saw. Realization too were a positive surprise for the company, up 3.3% 3% on year-on-year basis to a number of around 4,872 rupees per ton. Higher cost control measures and better than estimated volumes and realization clearly led to a surprise in ACC numbers, which has fired up for all the cement stocks. Various brokerages have come out on the maintained their neutral rating. Most of the brokerages have maintained their muted rating. However, they have maintained that the capacity constraints is the major problem for the company. Macquarie on ACC, which has maintained a neutral rating, suggested that it's a strong quarter, but then the street has got to be cautious on extrapolating this event, and the company is expected to underperform the market in absence of any capacity addition. Motilal Oswal, however, has a contrary view on this counter. It has upgraded the counter to buy and has revised the target price, says that the company is currently trading at a 45% discount as compared to that of its peers, and the valuation gap of 45% doesn't warrant such kind of underperformance from the stock, and the issue of limited capacity can be easily addressed by the company. JP Morgan, however, has slashed the target price for this counter. It says that the valuation remains cheap and there is a scope of further cost aside saving. However, there needs to be some clarity on new capacity expansion for a structural key rating on this counter.
All right, Nikki, thanks so much for that. We are watching out for Asian Paints earnings today. High input costs may hurt the company's margins. Yash Upadhyay is standing by with what the street is pricing in. Yash.
Thanks for that, Ira. So it is expected to be a strong quarter when it comes to Asian Paints. So we are looking at a top line number of 4,400 crore rupees, which would be a 16% growth on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA is seen growing by about 24% to 823 crores, with margins expanding by about 120 basis points. Net profit is expected to grow by about 21% to 517 crores. So all in all, a good set of numbers. But the street would be most importantly watching out for the volume growth number in the domestic decorative paint business, and that is expected to come in at about 12%. So a strong double-digit growth seen there on the back of that low base of 2% in the same quarter last year. That apart, the high input costs, that is likely to hurt their gross margins. Now remember that the company has taken price hikes to the tune of 3.5% to 4% in the quarter gone by, so that is likely to aid the EBITDA margins. But the gross margins, they would see some significant contraction because crude oil prices, as we remember, they had hit multi-year highs in the quarter gone by, along with prices of other monomers and solvents too going higher. Also, we will be watching out for any management commentary with respect to the demand outlook in the industrial paint business and how their home improvement business that turns out to be in the first quarter. Back to you.
Yes, thanks for that. Bajaj Auto is willing to give up its chosen path and turn its focus on the mass market segment. The bike maker, which had been betting on relatively premium Pulsar, has now decided to take on Hero MotoCorp on its own turf. That's the 100cc category. Yatin is here to tell us why this switch in strategy for Rajiv Bajaj, who's repeatedly gone on record to say that Bajaj is going to focus on margins and not on volumes. Yatin.
Well, Harsha, this is an interesting point in the two-wheeler segment, given the fact that we have always seen Bajaj consistently maintain a 20% EBITDA margin level. But now, since the first quarter earnings, we have seen the margin dip to a level of close to 17.6%, and these are the margins we have never seen in the last 5 years. Of course, last year, same quarter, we had aberration because of GST and BS4 transition, and if you look at the normalized margins, probably these are the lowest margins in the last 5-6 years. Of course, the key attribution here is, the kind of undercutting that we are looking at in the 100cc segment. And that is where, Bajaj has been looking to garner some market share. Now, if you look at, the analyst conference call, Bajaj management clearly said that they want to take advantage of the expanding low-cost 100cc market. And probably they look at the fortune at the bottom of the pyramid, which is the basically commuter segment. And, they talk about this as an M1 segment. Now, we have Bajaj Auto, which has a market share of close to 30-35% in the segment and is targeting a market share of 45 to 50% in the coming quarters. What happens here is that in order to garner more market share and probably look at eating away Hero Moto's market share, pricing is one point which is something that Bajaj has been talking to analysts about, wherein they said that in order to garner more market share, they would probably let go the price point or the EBITDA margin on the segment, which means that the competitive intensity in the 100cc segment would increase, which would mean lower margin not only for Bajaj Auto but Hero MotoCorp if they plan to retaliate with price cuts and aggressive marketing and promotional spends here. If you look at the M1 segment or the commuter segment that I was talking about, where probably the competitiveness would increase according to the markets, is the 100cc segment, wherein Bajaj CT100 is priced at 37,000 and the Bajaj Platina is priced at 47,500. These are the prices that we got from bikewale.com, and more importantly, these are prices ex-showroom Mumbai. And you have the Hero MotoCorp Splendor segment and the HF Dawn segment, which is priced at a similar price point. So this is where probably the competition or the pricing correction would come in, according to the management conference call and the analyst commentary. And more importantly, if Hero MotoCorp decides to target more market share in the 125, 150cc segment in order to retaliate the Bajaj's 100cc strategy, then there would be a full-scale price war is what currently the market is pricing in, and probably that explains why the shares of Bajaj Auto and Hero MotoCorp have corrected over 10-15% in the last 4 or 5 trading sessions.
All right, Jatin, thanks so much for that. ICICI Bank has sought to intervene in the Daiichi versus Singh brothers case. The country's largest private lender claims 250 crore in dues from the former promoters of Ranbaxy. Arpan Chaturvedi joining us with more. Arpan, what transpired in court today?
That's right, Ira. As we have said, this particular plea by ICICI Bank has been filed, and what they are claiming is that former Fortis owners, Singh brothers, owe them 250 crores. And what the order has come from today's single bench is that as of now, they have not agreed to hear the case, but what they've told ICICI Bank is that they should first get a decree, which is basically a legal recognition of your dues from the Debt Recovery Tribunal, and then approach the case. Remember, if the Delhi High Court agrees to hear this case, this will be one of another legal battle for Singh brothers. Remember, they're already the intervention plea that has been filed is the Daiichi case, where they have Daiichi had filed an execution plea of the 3,500 arbitral award that they have won, and this particular plea now will also be heard alongside once ICICI Bank manages to get a decree of dues of 250 crores from the DRT.
Arpan, thank you for that. 24 banks have entered into an inter-creditor agreement which allows the lead banker to take a more significant role in the resolution process. The aim is to try and find a solution for mid-sized stressed accounts, according to the banker's own admission. Chairman of State Bank of India, Rajneesh Kumar, says the lenders are now on the lookout for a sponsor for the asset management company and that it should be operational in the next 5 months. Listen in.
Only 3 public sector banks are remaining to get their board resolution, which is likely to happen in next 1 or 2 days. And private sector bank, one large private sector bank active in corporate banking has already signed, and 2 more will be signing by 27. So that way, the agreement between all category of lenders is quite good, and everybody seems to be on board. It is just a procedural matter and obtaining the board approval. And within 31st July, most of the lenders who have corporate book in any significant manner, they will be on board.
I think you're looking to set up an AIF. Can you share some details here? And by when do you believe this, the next steps for setting up the asset management committee will also be taken?
So asset management company, actively we are looking for the sponsors, because again, we don't want that I should set up that an AMC or a public sector bank or a major corporate lender should set up that AMC, because we want it to be completely at arm's length. So there is a considerable interest, and once a sponsor is finalized, then it is an AMC can be set up within a month. It's not a big deal, and then AIF, it takes 2-3 months minimum. So I think a fund and AMC should be fully operational in next 4 to 5 months.
Right. A severe shortage in coal supply has prompted the government to ask private power producers to use imported coal. Power plants with no coal linkages have been granted permission, according to a government official who did not wish to be named. Bhanvi Arora is standing by with the details. Bhanvi, is the shortfall expected to rise going forward?
Ma'am, even as the coal minister Piyush Goyal has said that there's no coal shortage in the country, the power ministry has agreed that there is a coal shortage, and therefore a power ministry official told us that it has asked the private power producers to import coal if they need. Now an official told us that it has suggested private power producers without coal linkages to import coal if the need arises. Now this comes in the background of the imported coal prices that are at an increase of 20 to 22% from last year. It may also be noted that the government had said last year that it is going to it has set a target to reduce coal imports, thermal coal imports to zero for PSUs in FY18, and the government is also had also said that it will convince private power producers to reduce the coal imports. Now with this directive, this will be a hindrance to achieving this target. Also, by importing coal, analysts have told us that the power tariffs will increase, and this will make electricity costlier for the consumers.
Bhanvi, thank you for that. It's been roughly 2 months since Sterlite's Tuticorin plant was shut down by the Tamil Nadu government. Residents around the plant have claimed that residue discharged from the facility polluted resources in the area and afflicted many with cancer. The Quint Smitha TK visited the villages in and around the Sterilite plant to verify these claims and understand the gravity of the situation.
ஒரு கை தட்டி ஓசையிடுமா 10 கை தட்டினா தான் ஓசையிடும்.
தண்ணி கெட்டாலும் பரவாயில்ல, மனுஷர் உயிர் போனாலும் பரவாயில்ல, திறப்பேன்னா அப்போ எல்லாரும் சேர்ந்து போக வேண்டியது, ஒரே நாளில் போக வேண்டியது எல்லாரும்.
நான் முதல்ல உங்ககிட்ட பேசிடுறேன். இங்கே என்ன நடந்ததுன்னு மட்டும் சொல்லுங்க.
அங்கே கொண்டு போனோம், இங்கே கொண்டு போனோம், கேரளா கொண்டு போனோம்.
நான் இந்த மேலேயே போய் படுப்போம். எங்களுக்கு ஸ்டெர்லைட்டுக்கு இதுக்கும் பக்கம்ல குப்பு 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 குப்புன்னு அப்படி வரும். நாங்கள் அதில் படுத்துருப்போம்ல 2 மணி 3 மணிக்கு அந்த மாதிரிக்கு உள்ள நேரம். மீனாட்சி ஆஸ்பத்திரிக்கு போயிருந்தோம், கோயம்புத்தூரில் KMCக்கு போயிருந்தோம். அவங்கெல்லாம் இது இன்னும் ஒன்றும் செய்ய முடியாது, பிழைக்க வைக்க முடியாது.
ரொம்ப மூச்சு திறனறி ஆள் நல்லா இருந்தாலும் ஒல்லியாகி
தூத்துக்குடி பெரியாஸ்பத்திரி கூட்டு போனோம், திருநெல்வேலிக்கு கூட்டு போனோம், மெட்ராஸு கேரளா கூட்டு போனோம், மதுரை போகணும்.
ரொம்ப இதாகி சலமாக வந்து தான் இறந்து போனாப்புல.
ஒரு பழக்கம் இல்லாதது நோய் வந்தது பேசுங்க.
ஊருக்குள்ளே கேன்சர் நோயின்னு இப்போ வருதுன்னு பார்த்தீங்கன்னா ஒரு 20 பேர்கிட்ட இந்த ஊரில் இறந்துருக்காங்க.
எனக்கு வந்து இருமல் மூச்சு திணறு மாதிரி வந்துச்சு, ஒரு மாதிரி வாமிட்டிங் எல்லாம் வந்துச்சு. அதில் தான் எனக்கு இந்த இது வந்து கட்டி இருக்கிறது தெரிஞ்சிச்சு.
பசங்க என்ன வயசு? ஒரே மாதிரி இருக்காங்க.
கை தான் வீக்கமாக இருந்தது. கை வீக்கமாக இருந்துட்டு அப்புறம் கழுத்தில் 2-3 கட்டி வந்தது. அது பிறகு ஆஸ்பத்திரியில் ஒன்று காட்டினோம், பெரியாஸ்பத்திரியில் ஒன்று காட்டினோம். பெரியாஸ்பத்திரிக்காரங்க அவங்க நீர் எடுத்து பார்த்துட்டு, கழுத்தில் நீர், நெஞ்சில் நீர் எடுத்து பார்த்துட்டு இது கேன்சர் தான். நாங்கள் எங்களுக்கு தெரியாமல் போய் கிணத்துல போய் விழுந்துச்சு.
ஏன் அவங்களுக்கு வலி தாங்க?
வலி தாங்க முடியல.
இப்போ நிறைய
தண்ணி ரொம்ப கெட்டு போச்சு, தண்ணி குடிக்க முடியல, பிள்ளைகளுக்கெல்லாம் மேலுக்கு தலைக்கு ஊற்றினா ஊரில் இருக்குது. தண்ணி வந்து மஞ்சளாக இருக்கும், சோறு பொங்கினாலுமே மஞ்சளாக இருக்கும் சோறு.
It's almost lunchtime, but in Kumaradiyappuram, just a kilometer away from the Sterilite Plant, the rice has still not put to boil and the sambar not made. Why? They are waiting for the water lorry to come in. They've already apologized to me thrice, as they don't even have a glass of water to offer to the guest who's come home.
All of us are sick. Most of us are down with diseases that cannot even be diagnosed.
You produce your copper, you produce your silver, you produce your whatever within the laws of the land without hurting others. That's a very significantly high amount given that this is 99%, 98% purity sulfuric acid. It would affect either the groundwater or the surface water and the soil.
Effluents dumped by corporates over the last 2 decades has contaminated the water bodies and the wells. That's what the villagers here said. However, when we at the Quint went to check, no visible effluents. The villagers say that the wells and the lakes have been cleaned up by the government officials and the corporates to wipe off any proof.
We already formed a committee to assess the drinking water requirements, the other requirements, and we'll be on a fast track mode and on priority basis we'll be providing the essential infrastructure in and around the Sterilite Plant. Almost around 15 villages are covered. We also would like to do a health camp, health screening, try to assess the present health situation, and if any serious ailments are there, if anything is required, we'll definitely provide quality health care also.
பக்கமாக இருக்குல்ல இது இந்த இருக்குது இது.
அந்த மெடிக்கல் பஸ் வந்து காலையிலேருந்து சாயந்தரம் வரைக்கும் இருந்து என்ன நோய் இருக்குது எல்லாமே இருந்து எல்லாருக்கும் மருந்து மாத்திரை எல்லாமே கொடுப்பாங்க, டாக்டர் செக் பண்ணி கொடுப்பாங்க. அப்போ அவங்க கம்பெனியில் பாதிப்பு இருக்க போய் தானே அவங்க பஸ் அனுப்புகிறாங்க, இல்லை மற்ற கம்பெனிக்காரங்க யாரும் பஸ் அனுப்பலையே. அதை வச்சு நாங்கள் எல்லாருமே வந்து ஸ்டெர்லைட்
மக்கள் இன்னும் இப்போ 50 பேர் செத்தாலும் பரவாயில்ல, இன்னும் திறந்தோன்னா இன்னும் தீயத்தான் வைப்போம். நாங்கள் ஸ்டெர்லைட்டை தீயத்தான் வைப்போம்.
When there have been several reported cases of cancer and breathing issues, why has there been no effort taken to find out the cause? Now there is a one-man commission looking into the May 22nd incident. But what about this issue that people have been asking about for the last decade? Some answers are still needed.
A ground report there. Moving on, earbuds, e-cigarettes and smart home products are getting hurt by the trade spat between the US and China. Selena Wong explains how.
What do earbuds, e-cigarettes and smart home products all have in common? They're all getting hurt by the trade war. I'm Selena Wang and I cover global technology for Bloomberg News in San Francisco. In recent years, scores of small hardware manufacturers have prospered despite competition from Apple and other tech giants. They've managed this in large part thanks to cheap manufacturing in China. But because they're small, they typically have thinner margins than their rivals and are the first to feel the pain of the trade war between the US and China. For instance, JLab Audio is a California company that designs earbuds, headphones, and speakers in the US and manufactures them in China. If Trump's latest plan to impose duties on an additional $200 billion worth of goods goes through, 70% of JLab's products will be impacted. The company says as a result, it could be forced to stop selling products that are no longer competitively priced. On the other hand, its competitors like Apple and Sony can use other products and services to offset those rising costs. costs. Now, about half of the goods targeted in the first round of tariffs that went into effect on July 6th fall into the consumer electronics sector. Included in those tariffs are battery packs, capacitors, navigation devices, internet-connected LED lights, and disk drives. Proposed tariffs on an additional $16 billion worth of products would impact startups making e-cigarettes, vaporizers, and electric scooters. HyperSense is another startup that's getting hit by the tariffs. Its smart home system is mostly manufactured in the U.S., but not the thermostat, which is made in China and subject to tariffs. Rather than pass the costs on to consumers, HyperSense is diverting resources to buy up inventory. I'm Selena Wang for Bloomberg News in San Francisco.
Out of time on the show. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Stay tuned to Bloomberg Quint.